If digital marketing is all the rage, then why am I getting all this mail? Well, because it works. Physical mail like a printed letter, a magazine, or even a flyer like this has the power to create a moment of inspiration. To send people on a journey they never expected. But none of the mail I got today is using one of the easiest ways to connect the physical experience to the digital world. Ironically, it's one of the technologies marketers wrote off years ago as a gimmick. And then the pandemic hit, and suddenly this old technology is everywhere. Why? What is it? What changed during the pandemic? Let me show you. It's the QR code, which was invented 27 years ago by this guy. The idea was simple. Find a way to create a machine-readable code that could contain more information than the standard barcode. And just like most nice things, you know, radio, television, podcasts, social media, the internet, marketers came along and ruined QR codes by putting them on everything. Yeah, doors, packaging, sandwiches, cookies, even arms. None of these are bad places for a QR code. The real problem was scanning the codes and where they took you. 99.9% of the time, you'd have to download an app and then install it, then scan the code, only to find out that the link took you to the company's website, or even less useful content like their TV ad. The QR code, which stands for quick response, by the way, the whole experience was just miserable. By 2011, interest in QR codes peaked, and within a year, the polish had worn off. 6 years later, interest in QR codes skyrocketed again when Nintendo released a new Pokemon character or something, not actually sure what it is, using a QR code distributed online. And by 2017, things went back to normal. QR codes were still being attached to all sorts of stuff, but no one scanned them. QR codes were a joke.
I have seen QR codes on bananas, and I scan them. And it says, scan here for smoothie recipe, and I scan it, and up pops a video and says, sorry, not playable on a mobile device. The only thing that scans a QR code is a mobile device. Nobody's taking their PC and flipping it upside down to get your smoothie recipes. Stop it!
And then, in 2020, the global pandemic hit, and 26 years after Hara envisioned a world made better by QR codes, well, they finally found their place. Last August, COVID-19 restrictions started to loosen a little, and then restaurants began reopening, and instead of the physical menus that might be passed from person to person to person without being cleaned, well, they started using QR codes on tables. You just scan the code with your phone's camera, no fancy download required anymore, and boom, the menu appeared like magic. Within weeks, QR codes were all over the place again. Retail stores, even my favorite morning news program started using QR codes. PayPal and Venmo rushed to issue these scan to pay QR codes for their vendors. And finally, QR codes are useful. Interest in QR codes has never been higher. So what about all this mail that we're sending and receiving? Well, I went through it all, and nothing in today's mail has a QR code on it. Let's take this giant flyer here from Jennifer Carol Patrick. She's used some really beautiful imagery to inspire me to check out this amazing looking condo. And sure, I could type in the URL, but I'm inspired right now to see more, and I always have my phone on me, so I could easily open up my camera and scan a QR code that could take me to Jennifer's video tour. After all, now I finally understand how useful they are, but you know what? There isn't one. So I'll put it here with all the other stuff and just move on. Here's the deal. Moments of inspiration are fleeting, and it's our job to remove the friction between any moment of inspiration and the moment of commitment. Even if that means revisiting an old technology like QR codes whose time has finally come. Yeah, check it out. Here's my QR code to subscribe to the Loyalty Loop. So if you're watching this on a TV or a laptop or maybe a tablet, you can pull out your phone, open up the camera, and give it a scan. Next week, we're gonna dive into ghost kitchens. You don't wanna miss that, do you? Boom! QR codes are back. Hopefully I'm holding it steady enough for you. Obviously, if you're on a machine or a phone that can click links, you don't really need the QR code, but who cares? At least we know what to do with them, right? All right, I'll see you next week on My Loyalty Loop.